welcome everybody. My name is Jackie. I am your host for today, and I'm really excited to have you on board with us. And thank you for making the time. We're going to start now. What I would just like to start off with, besides my warm welcome, is a few little house rules. You'll notice that everybody's been muted. We do that for the moment during the main presentation. And this is really a workshop, not so much a presentation, but we do that just so that there's no background noises that interfere and people can't hear. If you have any questions as we progress through the workshop, please put them in the chat box, and we have people waiting, ready and eager to answer and assist. And then afterwards, we will also have an opportunity where you can ask questions. You do that by just raising your hand, and I will acknowledge you and unmute you. And then you are happy to, you have all the time in the world to ask your questions, and we will do our best to answer it. So if we can get cracking, I'd like to introduce you to our keynote speaker, and I've been getting it right all day, and now I'm hesitating. Forgive me. Tuane Ive. Tuane is a BE expert and HR consultant. She has over 13 years experience in this very, very specialized field. She's been involved in projects in various industries and educates multiple stakeholders from vast backgrounds and management levels. So she's really quite a skilled, masterful expert, because this is not an easy thing to do. She's passionate about BE and how it can help advance the South African economic landscape, and is very proud to be part of the change. Tuane, we are so happy to have you give us your time. We really appreciate it. And I'm going to hand over to you and allow you to take the screen from here. Thank you.
Jackie, thank you so much for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. As Jackie mentioned, my name is Tuane. I will be your speaker for today, and I'm really excited and privileged to share some of this information with you. So today's webinar is really all about how to bridge the gap. And the gap that we're going to be speaking about is our skills gap in South Africa. So once again, welcome. I hope you are all comfortable. In Joburg, we've had a whole week of rain, so I hope you've had some nice weather. And if you're enjoying the rain, then let the rain come and flow on. We all need it. So yeah, just take some time today, enjoy it with us. And as Jackie said, if there's any questions, pop it into the chat box for us and we'll be glad to answer it.
Trinae, sorry to just jump in here. I just wanted to mention for everybody that we are recording the session. And so there is an opportunity to get a copy of the recording, just so that people don't have to worry about that. But yeah, thank you, Trinae. Off you go.
Thanks, Jackie. So today I want to start by just talking about our businesses, our country, and really our future and what legacy we're going to leave behind. So if we're talking about our businesses, in today's day and age, we are not only there to make a profit, to earn salaries, and to earn a living anymore. Yes, it's a very, very important part still of owning a business and of working in an organization. But I have found that throughout the years, people want to make an impact. People want to make a difference. And businesses want to help to do that, because the better our country, the better our businesses are going to be, and the more we're going to flourish as a nation. So how do we make that difference? And this is really what we're going to be speaking about today, is how can we make that impact in South Africa? Currently, we've seen businesses giving donations to NPOs. Perhaps you're running a few skills initiatives in-house already. Perhaps you have touched on BE and how to enhance your scorecard by touching on these skills initiatives. So we'll go in a bit more detail into that later on in the presentation, but we as businesses want to make a difference in various ways. So if I tell you today, if I mention South Africa, our country, I am pretty sure most of us at this stage have a bit of mixed emotions. South Africa at the moment is the place that we are all living in. It is the place where we raise our children. It is the place where we have built our businesses. And ultimately, it's our home and our future. On the other hand, we are sitting at the moment with quite a few issues, such as our energy crisis, the water crisis that we are experiencing in some regions. And then the most important thing that can address all of these issues, in my opinion, is our skills gap in the country. So if you think about all the problems we are experiencing, for me, it derives really from the skills gap. If you think about inexperienced, unqualified people in positions who lacks management and planning skills, this gives way to all of these issues that we are facing today. And what do we want to leave behind then? How do we make an impact? It's really to close that skills gap. And you might say to me, but Twane, if I do something, it's really a drop in the ocean. I'm going to show you today how you can impact so many lives, you as a business, and collectively, how we can impact so many lives to make a change in South Africa. So also, if you're a business owner today or you're part of a management team of an organization, we want to leave a legacy behind. We want our business to be known for something. Or, once we leave this earth, we want people and other businesses and clients to remember us for something. So I'm going to leave that with you for now. Just something to keep in the back of your minds as we go through the presentation is, what legacy do you want to leave behind and what impact do you want to make in South Africa? So I'm going to give you some shocking statistics today. It's something we all hear on the news, but we never really focus on. We know it's bad, but how bad is it really? So not to put a damper on today, here's some statistics, and then we're going to look at solutions, because you're probably saying, Tonay, today I don't want all the issues. I want to know how I can help, how I can solve, and how I can be part of the solution. So we'll do just that. Okay, so statistically, with a lot of research done, in 2022, we're sitting in South Africa and really across the globe with a critical skills shortage across almost every sector. So that's a lot of skills shortages. We're specifically experiencing a need for skills in the IT and finance sector. So let's just stand still there for a minute. If we think about every single business that we own, everyone needs an IT guy, whether it is for programming, whether it is for support, whether it is just setting up your network and getting your laptop going, whatever the need is, we need an IT guy. The same on the finance sector. We all need a bookkeeper, we all need a tax consultant, we all need an accountant at some point. So these are really, really critical skills that we are experiencing a big shortage in. Now, what we're finding, being in recruitment for so many years, we're also finding that it's getting more and more difficult filling vacancies in skilled positions. So if we think about anything from junior management, whether it be a team leader, supervisory position, or literally just being a senior member of a department, and up to top management, we are really experiencing such difficulty filling these vacancies. And you can imagine, once again, it is because of that skills gap that we are experiencing. So two significant contributors to the local scarcity of certain skills are, number one, expensive tertiary education. So we have our government, and this is the one good thing they have initiated in the past. It's called the NSFAS. That is the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. So this was launched a few years ago by our government to help with the expensive tertiary education and to give more access to students to enter tertiary education. What we found is that the selection criteria for the NSFAs is so strict that most students don't get access to that fund. It's something silly like a combined household income that you need to prove that needs to be less than 350,000 Rand a year. Even less for private institutions if you want to go and study at a private institution. So it's really, there's a list of criteria. And what we found is that students don't get access to that fund. So they have to revert either to private businesses to help them, or then they revert to working and paying for their studies, which is nearly impossible. So that brings me to my second point, which is the low wager contributed to the local scarcity of skills. So if we think about people entering the job market straight after school, they have no qualifications. They literally have a national senior certificate. The wages that come with those entry-level jobs are really, they can't make ends meet if they have to pay for their studies as well. So what we experience is then these people do not enter tertiary education and they stay in their entry-level jobs for quite some time until they get their what they call the lucky break, if you want to call it that. So let's just look at a little bit more detail of our current critical skills and the shortages that we are experiencing. You will see it is really in, like I said, across all sectors. So we're just gonna, this is a very shortened list. So we're just gonna look at a few of this just to make you aware what's out there. And you'll see that these roles are really, and skills are really essential for our businesses. So if we look at the IT sector, we can see that software developers, programmers, data scientists, system analysts, and then market research analysts, we're experiencing a shortage of skills for those roles. Then in our finance sector, actuaries, investment analysts, tax professionals, and external auditors. In our medical and health, which is very scary because this is our lives at stake, registered nurses. And then in design, media, and arts, multimedia specialists, multimedia designers, and business and management, business development officers. These are our sales consultants, our account managers, the people that really go out there and get us business. Also a very essential role. So that's the scarcity in that. And then in engineering, civil engineers. So I'm sure as you're sitting here today, you probably can identify with some of these skills shortages and some of these roles in your organizations that you are either taking a very long time to fill, if there's a vacancy, or cannot fill at all. So let's look at some more detail on how the skills gap affects us. It affects us as individuals, it affects us in our businesses, and it affects us as a country as a whole. So let's first look at our businesses. If there's a scarcity of skills, and I'll touch on it again, we've touched on the recruitment element, but when we have a vacancy and we want to recruit, what we find is that there's a smaller talent pool out there. So there are not so many candidates for us to choose from. And when it comes to recruitment and a fit for business, we look obviously at qualifications, skills, what the role requires, but also usually a culture fit. Now, when there's such a small talent pool, the chances that you'll get a perfect fit for your business is very small. So what we end up doing is we end up going out there and say, okay, well, we'll settle. We will settle because we cannot find the perfect candidate. We will either employ someone who has the qualifications but not the experience, or the other way around, will employ someone with the experience, but not necessarily the qualification. Now, what happens then is that we need to train these people. We need to give them in-house training, or we need to then pay for external training for them to get, or for us to get them where we need them to be in their roles. Now, if we take that time and cost and everything into consideration, it leads to lower productivity within our businesses. It also leads to performance issues because they are not performing the way we want them to perform. It can lead to disciplinary issues as well. And then ultimately, we have this bigger staff and training expenses and having to fork out the money the whole time to try and close all these gaps. As a country, how does it affect us? We have touched on it multiple times now. We are experiencing a bigger and bigger skills gap. Then here's the shocking statistic. We are experiencing a higher unemployment rate. Now, South Africa's official joblessness rate or unemployment rate has peaked to almost 35%. That is almost a quarter of our country sitting without jobs. And 66.5% of these unemployed people are youth. Now I ask you, and I'll take you back to the beginning of my presentation. What do we want to leave behind? What do we want our legacy to be if our youth unemployment rate is sitting at 66.5%? Then also, lastly, it affects our country's GDP. So how do we bridge this gap? Now I'm going to give you a few solutions. This is the fun part of the presentation and not the depressing part anymore. So I want to urge you today to do two things, and this is really in your hands. Is number one, let's train our youth. Our youth should be considered a driving force behind a country's economy and success on a global stage. Not only if you train and employ youth do they bring a fresh perspective, but also innovative new ideas that can help keep your business competitive. The gap between our unemployed youth and the skill shortage or talent crisis at the moment is fueled by two things. Number one, a lack of technical know-how, and number two, access to the right practical tools. So if we look at graduates or school leavers even that we take into and absorbed into our businesses, you will probably agree with me that we can see a big gap between theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge and practical know-how. So we find that they leave varsity and they come into our workplace, but they do not have business acumen, for instance. They do not have the specific practical skills to execute what they've learned into the role. They do not have soft skills like time management, email etiquette, really any soft skill that makes you a good employee. So these are things that we actually can solve, and I'll tell you how to now. Then number two, I want to urge you to create new opportunities. So number one, train our youth. Number two, create new opportunities. So they say charity begins at home, and that's where I want to urge you today to start. Go and look in your business, among your workforce. Where is the skills gap? Do a skills gap analysis and see how you can train and improve your staff. So OptimiWorkplace has a range of learnerships and short courses to address these gaps and to develop your workforce. So please do get in touch with us. If there's a training gap analysis to be done and you have no one to do it for you, I'm sure we can help with that as well. Then OptimiWorkplace also has a pool of candidates, being our youth with the unemployment rate being so high, ready to be trained and to enter the job market. I cannot tell you how many of these school leavers and students really are putting their hand up and are applying for bursaries at this stage. So there's really a need for it. We just need the assistance. Then I also want you to think about learnerships as an option. And you might tell me today, Twane, you know what, we want to help, but we do not have space or the knowledge and know-how or someone to train these people on site. Now we've got a nice solution for you today as well. We can host these learners offsite. So you can still contribute, you can still make a difference, but you do not need to host the learners yourself. We can host them offsite. But if you are one of those employers who would like to host the learners and teach them about your business, there is on-site options obviously available as well. So what's in it for you? What are the rewards when you look at learnerships? So just quick overview, I'm sure you all are aware of what a learnership is, but just a quick overview for those of you who are not sure. A learnership is leads to a full qualification. So it is registered with SAQA and with the relevant CETAs. Optimi is then the training provider. You will either be the lead employer or we can find a host employer. And these learners get theoretical skills and practical skills. So you can see that we're closing both of those gaps with one initiative. So let's look at the rewards for an employer. So if you go with a learnership, there's a greater credibility of the qualification because you can be assured that these qualifications are registered. The learners, like I said, also get theoretical and practical competence. So when and if you do absorb these learners into your workplace, you can be assured that they have the practical experience required as well to start working. And then ultimately what we'll have is the more learnerships we initiate, the bigger access to a wider pool of qualified workers we'll have. Then the benefits for the learner. Learnerships promote access to education and training. It allows learners to work and get started on their career, so that's the practical element, while also studying for educational qualification. And like we said, they then have access to education and training that they don't so desperately need. The rewards continued for the employer. Even more, you have BE benefits that comes with these learnerships. You have grants disbursements and tax incentives. Now, grants disbursements and tax incentives, if you take those in consideration, it almost covers the full cost of your learnership. So you are not really spending money. Yes, there's a upfront cost, but you can claim most of that money back from your grants, disbursements, and tax incentives. So please get in touch with us at Optimi. We'll explain to you how it works and how, how little money is actually spent on learnerships if you apply for these initiatives. And then I'm going to go a little bit more into detail with the BE benefits. As Jackie mentioned, that's my forte. So I'll explain to you now what or how big of a benefit they are for employers that do these learnerships. Then just more benefits for learners. Obviously, this leads to better unemployment or employment opportunities after the qualification. They get a fixed-term employment contract for the duration of the learnership. So they can be assured of a job for at least 12 months. And then learnerships improve on-the-job performance. So that's productivity, that low productivity that we spoke about earlier. It could learnerships better that because we can get these people up and running in their roles a lot quicker than we would with someone with no experience. So the BE elements and what rewards there are on the BE side of things. Today we're going to be looking, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the generic scorecard. You probably are aware that there are things like sector scorecards and you might fall into one of those. So the skills development element on scorecards across the boards is a big element. So the points might differ slightly and the initiative might differ slightly, but most of the scorecards almost look like this, and it has a big section for skills development expenditure, especially for learnerships. So I want to show you today how learnerships initiatives can really enhance your scorecard. So if we look at just this section here, it starts with skills development expenditure on learning programs as specified in the learning program matrix for Black people as a percentage of the leviable amount. So what it means in practical terms is that they want 3.5% of your annual leviable amount, so 3.5% of your leviable amount from your payroll, and that's your skills development levy, to go towards training. And when we talk about training here, we talk about registered training. And they mentioned Black people in here as well. So just to clarify, Black people in terms of BEE codes are anyone who is African, colored, or Indian. So when we talk about Black, we talk about people of color, basically. Okay, so 3.5% of your leviable amount can give you 6 points, a whole full 6 points. Now, the next section is skills development expenditure on bursaries for Black students at higher education institutions. So these can be employed or unemployed bursaries. I know Optimi also manages bursaries for their clients. So if you're interested in that, that's also an option. Um, in addition to the learnerships. So yeah, they ask for 2.5% of your livable amount, and it can give you a whole 4 points. Then the next section, they talk about the same accredited training for people with disabilities as a percentage of your livable amount. And that's a very tiny percentage, 0.3%. It gives you a whole full points as well. And when we look at the learnership section specifically, they talk about the number of Black people participating in learnerships, apprenticeships, and internships as a percentage of your total employees. So here we're not talking about the amount spent, we are talking about headcount. So how many employees do you have on your payroll? 5% of those employees need to be on learnerships according to the scorecard, and that will give you a full 6 points. Then you get bonus points for absorption. So absorption means that after your learnership, you are employing people on a permanent contract. So you're taking them into your workforce. So either yourself, your business, or within your industry. Okay, and then you get those five bonus points. So let's look which boxes learnerships will tick, because there's a lot of them. So say you are running a learnership initiative, you you want 3 people on learnerships, 2 of them disabled, 1 of them able-bodied. Let's look at that. So depending on your livable amounts as well, I'm not going to go into all of those calculations because I do not want to make it complicated. But learnerships tick box 1. So spend for Black people, we can get those 6 points. Bursaries is another initiative we can run. So number 3 there, or the third section there, learnerships will tick those boxes because we have disabled people then on our learnerships. It will tick the fourth box, which is number of Black people participating in learnerships. And then if we absorb these people or find them work within our industry, we can get the 5 bonus points. Also, quickly to mention, learnerships also feed into the employment equity or management control element of your scorecard. We're not going to look at that, but I do want to mention that there's extra points to be awarded in that section as well if you have disabled people on a learnership. Now, once again, everyone gets it right when I mention disabled people on a learnership, because you might say, but we don't have the facilities to host disabled people. So disabilities can be mental or it can be physical. So people are more comfortable sometimes hosting mental disabled people, but if it's physically disabled people, or you feel like, really, I can't host, I don't have, the facilities to host these people, once again, I'm going to remind you, we have off-site options that you can look at as well, where we have facilities to host these learners and give them the practical exposure that they require for the learnership program as well. Right, so all in all, if we look at this BEE scorecard and the initiatives that we want to cover, we can earn a total up to 21 out of 25 points by employing learners or staff on learnerships. So in BEE terms, this means that you can actually improve your BE level with 2 to 3 levels just looking at learnerships and spending on learnerships. This may mean that you have to spend less on other categories. And double whammy, we're covering the skills gap in South Africa, plus we have benefits for organization, and we're widening that pool of candidates when we are looking to employ people. So you can really see there's a lot of benefits. Once again, today I want to just urge you to help us make our country and our businesses and our youth, so our country a better place, and to upskill and train our youth. It's really going to help. And that's kind of it for me. We'll take any questions now, and I want to say a big thank you for lending us your ear and your time. It was really a pleasure to share this information with you, and I hope really that you take something home today. Jackie, thank you so much. I'm going to give over to you.
Thank you, Twane. That was really insightful and very clear. And I liked it because it gives us the information we need, but it's not too technical that it confuses us. So, gosh, people, how does it sound to go up a level or two on your BE scorecard simply by putting in learnerships? It's a great opportunity, but I'd like to open the floor now to questions. If you could please just raise your hand, and Kathy, if you would please unmute the person who's got questions, and let's use a few minutes of our time that we still got, because we're tracking actually really well, to get Twane to assist us. So any questions, please? Okay, LaRue, Celia's, or is it Celia's LaRue? Sorry, I'm not sure, because I've got a friend whose first name is LaRue, so I never know which way to address it. Please unmute, Kathy. Please unmute.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Great morning. Yeah, you're speaking to Celia. I'm from
Celia.
Yes. Surname is Leroux.
Hello.
Unfortunately, my mother punished me with a surname for a name.
Well, my
Okay.
friend is LaRue for Leon, so that's why I wasn't sure how to address you.
Yeah, it's quite confusing, especially for a teacher if you've got two of them after each other on the alphabetical list. Just a quick one. It's Tuanne, eh?
It's Twane, yes.
Yeah, Tuanne, you keep on referring to learnerships. Just give me an example of the learnerships you're referring to. Is it engineering learnership? Is it non-engineering learnership? If it's non-engineering learnership, just give us an example of what are the learnerships you're referring to.
Yeah, hi. Firstly, I want to say that it's not only your mom that punished you with a name like Twane. I feel your pain. But yes, when we're talking about learnerships, there is so many learnerships that are actually registered with SAQA. I mean, Optimi can give you a full list of learnerships, but the criteria for learnerships is, like I mentioned, it needs to be registered with SAQA, and then Optimi usually assists to register it with the CETA as well. As long as it's a registered qualification for 12 months, that gives you the theoretical part and the practical experience. There are so many in every sector that specifically specific to the roles that you need, that you can look at. So you can literally tell us, I want something in engineering. We can give you a whole list with, all the modules that it contain. And that's what I'm saying. Just tell us what your skills gap is and we can fill that for you. We can give you something suitable for it.
Okay, great. Now, because I've got engineering learnerships, but I've got the service provider that's providing it at this stage because there needs to be on-job modules and things also be done, which is coming to our side. No, but I'll take this discussion with you offline at a later stage then. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you for your question. Gareth, you asked a question now with regards to you need further information on bursary management. So we will certainly, Yolandi, will you please make a note there so that we can contact Gareth and give him the information he requires for bursary management. Celia, if you don't mind just taking your hand down, please.
I'm trying my best, but it seems to me.
That's fine. No problem.
Okay,
there
there
we
it
go.
is. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just looking, are the other hands? Am I missing any? Is that the only question we have? Twane, you must have been, well, you were fabulous, but you must be absolutely fabulous because we're not having questions. You were clear. Anybody else? All right, so
perhaps I can add
yes,
something just on the flip side
sure.
with the skills development section. So, guys, if we look at the skills development section on the generic scorecard, it's something that we call a sub-minimum section as well. So please be aware of that when you do not spend enough on training, there is a target or targeted points, a minimum target points that you need to hit in skills development. Otherwise, you automatically drop a level. So just be aware of that as well.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point because I've seen that happen. So that is a scary point. Good thing you mentioned it. Anybody else? Right, so look, we've got the recording and obviously we've got the presentation, and rather than just spam everybody, if you would like a copy of the recording and the presentation, please just put your name into and just put your name into the chat box and we will contact you and send it to you with the greatest of pleasure. If you have any further questions, please contact the salesperson that assisted you in getting you into the presentation. They will gladly come and see you and advise you. We can also make arrangements for Twane to come and sit with you as well. So the bottom line is we're here to help. We really are here to help and we can help. It's that simple. So I'm going to ask Kathy that you don't switch the recording off until 11 o'clock. I mean, people are welcome to leave just to give people the opportunity to put their names in the chat box so that we can contact and send the information as required to whoever requires it. But Twane, thank you so much. It was really nice having you as our guest speaker, our keynote speaker. And I'm in awe of your commitment and your passion and how you serve the country. So as a fellow South African, I just want to say thank you to everybody else. Thank you for the time. I know time is precious, so I don't want to waste anybody's time. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to chatting to you. And obviously look forward to seeing you in the next webinar, which will be within 2 months, and we'll notify you of what we'll be covering, something topical, something important to our industry. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day going further. Goodbye. Kathy, are you there?
Hi, Jackie. Yes, I'm here.
How did you think that went?
I think it went very well.
No, it did
20
too.
was making sense, yes.
No, I couldn't remember how to pronounce her bloody name in the beginning. I was so angry with myself. Twane. But no, other
Hi.
than that,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
not easy.
fine.
So, yeah.
Hey, other than that, it went well.
Yeah, I think so. If you're happy, I'm just glad that there wasn't so many questions.
No, I know, but that's all right.
Quite strange.
You did really, really well, and apologies for not getting your name right. I mean, I was practicing, and then, truth God, my brain froze.
Shame, Jackie. I'm sure no one even noticed really, so don't stress. It's all good.
No, but I think it went very well. Very smooth. Really, really happy. So, Trine,
Thank you.
thank you very much. I think, I mean, we've got everybody. So, are we going to switch off now? Hey? Or well, look, I'm going to log off. But Kathy, if you'll just stay on it, so that we can collect all the information, so we can start sending the people the information they requested.
No problem.
Okay, super.
You happy
Thank
for me to log off as well?
Absolutely. Thanks,
Okay,
Trine.
perfect.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Jackie. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.